conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good evening. I'm going to call to order the April 17th Energy and Sustainability Committee meeting. Call to order. The first order of business is sign of the documents, which is approval of the minutes. Have folks had a chance to review the minutes that were sent out by Patricia?
Yes, but
Yes.
I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay, that's right. Let's see, who wasn't at the meeting last time? Chris, Joanne, and Todd. So, all right, so you can't sign Joanne. Hi, Rich.
Hey.
Hi. By the way, since Patricia isn't here tonight, we're gonna need someone to graciously volunteer to do the minutes. And I think Kathy
Yes, I
volunteered to
will,
do that. Thank you so much for doing that. Okay, with that said, we have someone taking the minutes now, so that's good. Is Chris on yet? Chris is on, good. So, all in favor of approving of the minutes as submitted, say aye. 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 Reed? Chris, are you on? Oh, Chris wasn't here last time anyway, I don't think so. Okay.
This is Frank.
Frank, you're on? Oh, okay. It
Yeah,
says
I'm calling in.
Okay. Oh, C must be calling. I see it now. Hi, Frank.
Hey there.
Are you back in town?
I am, yes, but I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I intended to, but
Yeah,
I'll be at the next meeting.
Okay, good. Well, welcome back.
Thanks.
Good. Hopefully you brought some of the Florida weather up with you. Instead of what
Oh
we
yeah,
have.
it's coming.
Yeah, good. So, let me see where we're at. All in favor of, we already had had all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. We did that. Any other discussion? Actually, I should have said that first on the minutes. Good. Okay, good. Motion carries then. We'll sign these and send them around. Where's my name? This my name here. Read, if we could sign those, good. Good, well, thank you. Additions to the agenda, consent of members. I did add a couple things on under other. There was one other online session I attended. I'll add that on when I talk about the Powering Massachusetts Forward workshop that I attended. If that's okay with everybody.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's do the discussion and action items. Report from the subcommittees. Let's start off with transportation. Patricia Krebs is in here, so Mike, take it away.
Okay, I got mostly good news.
Good.
So when we last talked, right, there was a holdup in that these data communication circuits were interfering with where the power was coming in the house. We didn't know when it was going to be scheduled. And I was asking Steve, well, I just got it.
Interfinity, you mean? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
I just got an email from Steve today, if I understood it properly. Communication circuits have been moved and they should no longer be issued.
Wow.
So what that does, it allows the installer, Rich Chenevert, to go to National Grid and decide whether the power line that goes from the pole or transformer to the house has sufficient current carrying capacity. If it does, good. If not, then it's like, okay, that begins two questions if that's not the case. Question number one is who pays for it? And question number two is when would it be done? So those, the last I had a discussion with Steve a while back is he thinks that National Grid has some sort of program that covers that to help out. But the fact that we're not having a National Grid part of the grant, which is Mass EBIT grant, I don't know where that goes.
Right.
So that adds a bit of uncertainty. So like, if it's a 2-digit number or a low 3-digit number, it ain't no big deal. If it's a 4-digit number, that's a higher four, it may be a big deal. It's a 5-digit number, given this town's budgetary problem, you might be in, I don't know what the right word to use.
Yeah.
Water?
Deep
There you
doo.
go, okay, that's a.
I was thinking deep, I was thinking deep doo-doo, yeah.
Okay, so we got that. Now, the other thing is, I've been working with EVSE LLC, the manufacturer of our chargers, and I've been saying, we want to get them here as soon as possible to get the equipment so that we're ready to go and there's not a holdup. Obviously, let's say Mr. Chenevert turns it around with National Grid in a week, and he starts digging holes and whatever, does as much as he can without the equipment. If he has to wait 2 months or a month and a half with a hole in the ground, that's not a good deal. So we got to make those two parts come together. There's the fine art of project management to make it happen. So I got a little hemming and hawing out of EVSE LLC because they had some change in management and there's some issues with the supply chain, even the tariff stuff. So.
Is it due to the tariff stuff, or is it?
What's that?
Was it due to the tariff stuff, or is it something else?
Due to the tariff stuff.
No, I didn't think so, yeah.
And one of the changes, most of the parts will be off the shelf.
Right.
Or standard design, which maybe they're not parts aren't manufactured, that's the standard. But because of the subtleties of the issues of the American Disabilities Act requirements, they've had to take something that was rear mounted has to become front mounted, and that's a little bit customized, and it should add to the delivery. But the bottom line is, as soon as we can get them to do it, we're gonna pick them up with a truck, avoid any freight charges, and put them somewhere. And hopefully.
Who's gonna pick him up with the truck?
The town of Belchertown.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
I will with my Subaru.
Right, yeah, that's what I was
The
wondering.
transmission doesn't blow up in my Subaru between then and now. I will do it. So the idea is we want those things to arrive at the time, and Rich Chenevert has a lot of other projects going on. And we want to have him knowing when they're going to come there so we can match up those things. Now,
Wouldn't they have checked wouldn't that have been part of the requirement to check that power requirement? I would think that would be part of the checklist of
Yes.
going through this, yeah.
yes, the problem is when we were going through, we were assuming that Ms. Chenevert was gonna take care of that, and I think there was some confusion there.
Yeah.
So,
That's usually what happens.
and I frankly, I wish, I thought he should have made that perfectly clear to us back then, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I've been working on, to prepare for this, is to figure out how much we should charge, right? We're up and running, how much are we gonna charge people who come, right? So I have, this is version 1 of a rather engineering grade thing, and I have a spreadsheet that has a group of worksheets, and there's a README that fully documents what's here. I did not print that out because I would have printed it out for you to see today, but because I got stuck in traffic for an extra hour and 15 minutes coming back from Cambridge.
On the Pike?
Yes,
We were talking about that earlier.
yes, I was not a happy camper.
What time was that about?
Well, I should have been home by 4 and I ended up being home about 5:15.
So we were actually just getting on the Pike
Yeah.
in Palmer, and it was backed up then.
Yeah.
And I was stuck there before
Well, I
I
had to
turned
get
around.
off, in the 84, take 84
Right.
south to 20.
Yeah.
And eventually I took 20 over 181, but it was a mess even on 20 because all that mass western going went red.
Anyway, I just
So-
sorry, it was just interesting.
So the product that I put together, which I'm gonna give you copies of to review fairly quickly, has a README section that is designed to be written so it can't be misunderstood in documents, what's there for how we do it. In case I die, I have a stroke, I go insane, or I end up in a prison in El Salvador, it's there. Okay. So, anyway, I'm gonna go through this
I don't know if it's gonna be worse.
rather quickly, just to kind of flavor for it. Now, if anyone optionally wants to participate in a review of the documentation or what's here, I'll send you the electronic copy.
please.
and we can work one-on-one on this. I'll give you one of these.
Thank you.
Right? Actually, I have the right amount for everyone.
Perfect. Thank you.
I think I do.
Chris, I see you're here now?
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I know.
The first thing we try and compute, and I'm on page 1 there, right?
Mhm.
Something I call calculation of break-even energy cost estimate, right?
Yes.
And the word estimate is an important thing in there. Okay? And the idea with the break-even energy cost estimate is that if we charge lower than that, we're losing money, right? So if we just want to break even on what we're charging for energy, we have to have this estimate. And it doesn't make any sense for us to charge any lower than this, okay? So the
What's
one
what's
thing,
typical?
what's that?
What's typical? What's a typical charge?
Well, I'm gonna,
Okay, all right.
okay, so these are fairly real numbers right now, okay? So what you have is the basic energy cost, which is like what you see on your bill. The Finnerty House has a bill like you have, right? But when you look at your bill, it says, here's the basic energy charge for kilowatt hours used. And then there are the other services, that in-grid services, which in my case often adds up to more than what I'm paying. Now, the interesting thing about that is that you don't know what they're gonna be. And I'll show you the numbers which reflect that on the next page. We'll hold on to that. But, so what I'm trying to do is you have the energy charge, and there's the second thing you see there, total estimated ratio of the total cost of the town's energy to the basic energy cost, right? So if you look at the number there, in the month of January, you see a 10.75 cents per kilowatt hour. That's what the Finnerty House, the first number on the first page.
Yes.
All right. The second number says 2.4, right? Which is an estimate that to get what they really paid in that month, we have to multiply that 10.75 by 2.4. Okay. Now,
I got you.
if Amp Up, our software provider, was doing it for free, it would be the product of those two numbers, right? But Amp Up takes an 11% cut. So in effect, we have to charge 11% more. So when you do the math, and I'm going to go through the equations now, you see it says calculation of the break-even energy cost estimate is 28.99. Okay, it's called 29 cents. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the second page. I just want you to see something here on the second page. This deals with that historical ratio between what the total bill is versus what the energy bill is, right?
Mhm.
So if you look at the 12 months of 2024, right, the energy price for those 12 months was all 15.32, right? But when you put in the total cost there and you calculate the ratio, you can see that in January there's 1.88 cents. That was called 1.88. But in December, when you still had that same energy price, it's 2.01, okay? So 1.88 to 2.01, that's about a 7% difference, okay? But, so what you can see here, if you skim down that column, it says TCECR, right? The numbers vary between 1.87.
I'm not seeing that. Where'd you get, where you on?
I'm in the fourth green color
Oh,
column.
okay, good. Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, the white one.
Yeah, right.
Um,
TCER.
Anything in green is answerable, anything in white is a calculation, right? So
Yeah.
that ratio varied during the year, and we would expect that ratio to vary going forward. And the reason behind that is some months that people make more solar and get more solar credits or less solar credits, or some other program starts up or shuts down, blah, 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 blah. Who knows, maybe some salaries go up for the people in the distribution department, who knows? It's totally opaque to us, but we have to come up with an estimate of that, and that's why I emphasize break-even cost estimate. So the idea is if you maintain what you see on page 2 there,
Mm-hmm.
you can determine what that ratio is. So And it'll be pretty stable as long as the price change. But you can see between December 2024 and January 2025, when the price went from 1532 to 1075, the ratio went from 2 to 2.4. So this is the way we come up with our break-even price.
Okay.
So let's leave that. Is that fairly clear? Okay. So the next thing is, who are we competing against? Or are we competing against anyone, right? So what I decided to do in the spreadsheet was to allow for up to 5 different nearby sites where you can enter their prices, right? You don't have to enter all 5. If you look at the last page, right, or next to last page.
Right, next to last.
Right. On for the January 1st, that isn't actually the right date. That's some old data that Patricia had. I had 3 sites which were 35, 45, and 35, right? And on April 3rd, I had 35, 35, and 45, and another 43, okay? So by keeping track of this over time, this is gonna vary over time because not only the sites' prices are gonna change, but we may get new competitors and more relevant sites we may learn as we're going. So the idea is that there would be a historical track of what the site prices are, and it computes an average price and maximum minimum. I didn't show it to you, but there's also even a weighted average that you can put there, but I've gotten some negative feedback that that's too pointed headed, I'm not going to do that. But in any event, the idea is if we document what's here, and so if you go to the very last page, right, it's kind of a weird structure, but in order.
But the 35 is, if I understand this, is, you know, your break even was at 29, and if you had the 11% on, that's 32, so 35
Well, the
is.
29 was with all the expeditions.
Oh, it was, so it was,
Yeah,
okay.
so, but if you pick the number 35, we'll go back, but I just want to make clear what's here. So we need a data structure that, you know, we're asynchronous. At different times, people are going to say, all right, here's what I found. Right? And they can be for different sites. So what you see on the next to last page, each of those sites, we have to write down what the name of the site was, okay? So, and if I have this set up for, I don't know, 100 entries, whatever. So you can always go back and see, this is the prices used for these sites, but they're site varying and time varying, right? It's kind of, this is actually on one continuous page. So if you want to actually rip off the last page and put it next to the other one, but
Right.
you can see this thing, right? So, okay, let's go back to the first page now. So I chose, you see it like this, enter alternative price, 35. Somebody could just made it up out of their heads, or they could use that. There's not a requirement to use that, right? Now, I got maybe a little too mathematical here, but when you see, let's call it the break-even price at 29, and the alternative price we're using is 35. If I put a 1 in for this desired profit factor, when I put a 1, that says basically use the 35. You can see the answer 35. If I put in a 0.5 there, it'll pick the midpoint between the 29, which is our break-even cost, and the 35, which is the other one. If you put in 1.2, it'll come out with a number above it. So there's a way of tuning it. And some of the issues that come up are like, do we have to come up with a number less than others? Or do we have an advantage of geography where people are going to come here and, you know, there may be a 35 over there, but we can get away with charging 40 or 45 without scaring them off, right? So, all this is sort of to be determined empirically by over time. The other thing I have during the bottom, if you look on the bottom, it says estimated gross profit. So you can put in a number of vehicles charged and the average charge per vehicle, right?
Mhm.
So if you use that 35 price and our break-even price is 29, you can figure out what our estimated gross profit would be. So with that number of cars and 37 kilowatt hours per charge, which I got off the internet is the average charging number, right? We'd be making $444.83. I need to get the extra decimals out of it in version 2, right? So you can put in this and you do sort of sensitivity analysis to see how much money you're gonna make. Now, how much money do we need to make for those of us who weren't around for the beginning part? We have $1,000 a year software licensing cost and a 2-digit number for the latent power, which is basically how much electricity we're gonna use. It's just sitting out there when no one's using it. That's let's say it's 50
Small, yeah.
a year, right? And then we have an estimate of what the maintenance cost is gonna be. Right? So the bottom line is, we would like to make $1,100, but I don't know what, quote, the market will bear for this. So I've just set up the structure to support all these things on down the road. That's my story, I'm sticking to it.
So as we go to 35, and, I mean, it's, to me, it's, you know, you have to be fair, and you have to cover your costs.
Those two goals may be antagonistic to each other.
Yes.
Estimated gross profit in dollars, that's after we make 1,100.
No.
So we
That's
have,
why I said gross, the net profit, whatever amount you made in a year, you have to subtract that 1,000 and whatever.
so we need to do more than
Right.
we need to do
More
more.
than 29.
Right, so like if I would make that number 45, we would see a number come out quite a bit higher. Right? But,
Or work it backwards, what do you need to make
well, maybe,
$1,000?
yeah, but if we make it too high, we may scare people off, right? So I don't know
What is that
where,
number?
I don't know, I wish I had one of my marketing friends with me from my old energy market days. I don't know how, you know, whether we can get away with charging anything, because the people are gonna be in the library, they don't care, or if it's like 1 penny more, they're gonna say, I'm out of here.
Right, because the apps are gonna show consumers,
Right.
right? You can charge your car here, or you can
Yeah.
charge your car at
Right.
Statler Street, and how much it costs.
As somebody who uses these things, you know, if I need it, I pay it. The one you use is the fastest one, closest to before you get to 25 miles left.
Yeah.
And that is basically the way. Now, if you are somebody who doesn't have a home charger, you will pick the one that's the easiest for you. So in other words, if you live in this area, you're gonna plug it in overnight and then pick it up in the morning. Because you're not gonna run down to Stop and Shop. So,
So, I mean, the bottom line is, I don't know how all those, quote, market forces balance out.
Right.
But I tried to provide the structure, my best educated guess with my obviously limited talents and abilities to, you know, give an infrastructure to provide that. So if you want to work on it, your option, I'll send you, it's best if you work off the electronic version of it and we talk on the phone. And just send me an email if you're interested in doing that. Some of the problems with the alternate prices are, if they give a number that's less than our break even, we're not gonna put it on there, right? And some of the prices are, it may say 35 or 30, but they may have a minimum charge. So if someone uses $3 of electricity, but they have a minimum charge of 5, what do I put in for that? And so there's sort of, aside from what our market characteristics are, what those other people, how they're structuring their prices, what does that really mean? And so on down the road, I basically left out anything that I looked at nearby that had the funny stuff in there. And when you just had a straight price, I used the straight price. And these numbers are not, these are for demonstration purposes to show what's there.
I have a question. Like, when you talk about a profit or a loss, who's realizing that profit or loss?
Okay. The town.
So if the town has a loss, will the town cover it? Or what will the consequence be?
Okay, so in the short to medium term, they would probably have to cover it. Okay, so what we did on the front end was we established a goal to the extent practical and possible. We want this to be a revenue neutral enterprise that after 10-year life cycle, that the town would cost us nothing. That was an admirable, I don't know whether we'll achieve that or not, I really don't know. But that was the basic idea, right? Now, if we get halfway there, but we can't, this piece here, again, only prices the energy. If we charge exactly the break-even price, and it's really right, we're gonna be out $1,000 for the software and a 2-digit number for the energy and whatever the maintenance is. But, so we want that number, the bottom line estimated gross profit, that's the money we get coming in before we pay for the software.
Now,
Right.
you can't make this up with volume, so if you have 400 vehicles charged, it's not gonna, you're still gonna be,
It'll be $900, we'll still be in the hole. But I'm saying that the 30, in this particular case, the numbers may not be friendly to just charge. We may want to charge $40 or $45 and see if we can get away with it, not scare people away so that we do break even and take advantage of the geography. That may not be, there may be a conflict of goal with being quote fair, but.
But you have to start somewhere, right? And then you adjust.
right. I mean, do you start low to get people to come? And then if you
Exactly.
get enough volume, then you probably don't have to.
And you chisel away at it a little at a time
And
until they run away.
yeah, I mean, well, and now the other question is, the town's energy costs, how are those structured? They're not on with us, are they? With our price. So,
Yes,
so in other words, in another year, there could be way up or could be way down.
yes.
So then obviously, as the town's costs fluctuate and
And
our,
others, people's prices fluctuate and more players come in the game.
Yeah.
That's why the structure is
so
the way
that,
it is.
so you're gonna be out there every week. Reading those numbers and tracking.
I don't know that it will be every week. I honestly, I'm hoping that once I get this established and whatever, I'm gonna be off the committee.
There should be in the software, there should be a way of tracking all that.
Right, now the other side is, okay, if we can leave this for now, you got the basic idea, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that's all I want to do. If you want to get into more detail, send me an email, we'll set up whatever. Amp Up software, I have asked EVSE LLC, I get the software through them from Amp Up. I'm trying to get my hands on the documentation of the exact version of software we're gonna have, which provides a standard report. So when we start billing, we get the standard billing. So we have this to do prospective work. I want to show you price. Okay, all right, now that looking back, we charge that price. Were we drinking our bathwater with the numbers and we didn't really, or did it make sense? So we have to get that other piece in there. And probably from what Patricia and I did a demo version about 2 years ago, maybe even longer, Amp Up software. So it's off the shelf stuff, it's pretty much there as best I can. But we want to see what's there and figure out how to set it up. There's things where you can charge an extra fee after a charge if they leave it there for another hour or two, and you can put minimum charges in, right? We'd like to keep it simple up front. Here's the energy price so that we can do our analysis.
Okay, good.
Ideally, what you'd like is that to have 2 cars sitting there every night,
Yeah.
parked from 8 to 8. And even though they won't be using it the whole time, they will be maxing out whatever they can put in. And that would give you a lot of,
Is that allowed to have a car there all night like that?
well,
Not really allowed, but I mean, is that,
that's the town's problem if they
Yeah.
say nobody, but
Yeah.
they have to, that's the other thing is you have to make sure that they're not gonna ticket anybody who's been sitting there.
Yeah.
And so,
So
No, what happens if someone's going through at midnight, he says, oh, I know there's a charger here and there's 2 cars plugged in unattended.
Happens all the time.
That's what I'm wondering,
Yeah.
that's typical.
Oh,
is that-
happens
Yeah,
all
well,
the
and the
time.
apps will tell you too if
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
chargers are available or not.
Oh,
So
right,
you would
right,
know
right,
if
right.
you're like,
Okay.
oh yeah, there's 2 chargers, but they're not available.
And you
on the
really
software.
can't pull it out.
No,
Somebody
no.
else
Yeah, no,
will.
you can't. You can't
Especially
pull
if the car's unattended, so.
Right,
Or,
yeah.
interesting.
But I think my car charges in 4 or 5 hours
Yes.
tops at my home charger, so.
Yeah,
if
that's the,
are these fast chargers?
They're level 2, yeah.
They're level 2.
But they're not the high.
They're not
high-speed
high-speed
They're
ones.
not.
Yeah,
So,
that's gonna be another thing some of the DC chargers I looked at charge quite a bit more for the speed.
Mm.
So I'm not sure how we work their prices in here.
yeah, the faster it is, the more they're gonna charge you, because you time.
And, you know, obviously the folks that came here that were trying to get us through the fast charger are in it to turn a profit, we're in it to break even, you know. And-
Well, they have adapters where you can go to a level 2 and put your adapter on and get a level 3 charge.
Really?
I mean, I don't know.
Those are just coming in now.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
that would,
Interesting.
yeah,
I've gone to 2 town halls before here to charge, and one, it was free.
Yeah, I'm ready.
And then another one, it was like, well, there's a few years ago, but like 30 cents or something.
yeah, they're all over the place for price, but I
Well,
think
we went to the free
location,
one.
yeah, yeah.
So.
I don't know if the town covered that.
Well, that's what I was wondering, how could they, I doubt they're
I
still
don't know,
doing it.
but
Yeah,
they
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Um,
I think you're
Connecticut,
supposed to be on town business, you know, it's not just,
Yeah.
Palmer had it set up to anybody,
Yeah.
you come on the street and go to a truck, and plug it in and get it. for free.
Connecticut has that too, but they're really slow ones, but a lot of the places in Connecticut got a grant way back when,
Mm.
and then they did it, and they didn't, but it didn't have anything to hook up. I think Lennox up in Massachusetts, up in the Berkshires has the same thing, they've got two, but they're old fashioned, so they can't charge,
I don't think
Okay.
they'll
It's
be a
great.
good competitor with us,
Okay.
given the distance.
All right, good.
but Palmer will be.
well, you're good
Let's
to
move
put
on.
all this work into it. Well, you're well paid though, right?
Yeah.
It's the satisfaction, isn't it?
I mean, you did put the markup for the research.
Yeah,
He loves this
in
stuff.
fact, we exercise so many corollaries of Murphy's Law along the way.
All right, we gotta move on. Anything else?
If
Okay.
I'm happy, send me an email if you want to get more involved.
Yeah, I mean,
Can we send it to the whole group? I think it'd be good to be able to play with the spreadsheet and kind of see how the different, can we send it to the whole group so we can play with the numbers?
I can, I'll send it to John and he can send it
Okay.
out.
oh, you wanna do it that way?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Okay. Yeah, all right, I'll do that. Okay, send it to me and I'll send it out. Yeah. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. It's a good question. All right, good. Next up is Belchertown Community Energy Choice. It's myself and Chris. And by the way, Frank is no longer on that subcommittee, but he is joining us. Thank you, Frank, for all the time and effort you put in over the last several years.
Oh, you're welcome. I will continue to be involved as I will always be here at least part-time. So
Good.
I'll help any way I can.
It's good to hear. Thank you. All right. I think I mentioned last time there was a sweep that was done by Good Energy. And I got the results back on the summary. What they do is they every couple of months they'll do how many new people in town, how many new people can we sign on. So they sent me the results, but I got a question back to them because actually seems like the number went down. Last time the number was around 5,000 households or commercial and industrial total was around 5,000. Now it's around 4,300. So I don't know where that drop off was, but again, I have a question into them on that to see if those numbers were actually reported correctly. We shouldn't have gone backwards. So if we did, I want to know why.
Can I say something about that?
Sure.
I have received a tremendous number of things that look like Energy Choice that are touting come and join us. So I'm wondering if some people are thinking that that's the same thing and maybe there's a better price now or whatever.
Yeah. good
So-
point, Yeah. I mean, that's why it's important to have the town seal on there, on any of that documentation, because, it's a town approved embedded program, so.
Were the
Yeah, I've heard
numbers below our numbers?
Um,
The energy, I got that and saw it through it in the trash. I didn't bother opening it with the numbers.
I didn't look, but I just realized, I was thinking, oh, no, that's not the same.
Mm.
So, yeah. And then people don't go back and find out whether, especially if they're the ones that have the lower initial.
The ones I've been getting have been higher, especially the one that I used to be on was 100% renewable. And they're up several cents higher than, cents per kilowatt hour than what this program gives. So, it's hard to compete individually when you're competing against, 4,000 or 5,000 households buying in bulk. And I think that's where there should always be a better price through this program. But, we don't know what how
Well,
volatile the market is.
there is a game they play. You sign
Oh,
up for
that's the other
this
thing.
for
Yes.
6 months, or
6
3
months,
months,
yes. Yeah.
and then after that you
Yes.
go. So all of a sudden people sign and 6 months go by. Now, in month 7 through 10, what percent of the consumers are savvy enough to realize they've been stepped up 30%?
Yeah.
And it may take them 6 months to figure it out.
I'm in that category.
Yeah, and they're locked in. Yeah, actually, you're right. I think that's where the rate is lower sometimes for that introductory period. So people have to be really careful about that.
And then they don't tell you when it jacked up.
No, they don't know.
And so you gotta keep track of your bill.
People don't do that.
I was gonna say, it's just like the cable TV when they say it,
Yeah.
no, that's expired.
So I'm looking into that. I did ask them about the, we talked about tally board where we could track the, was that Chris or did somebody say something?
I was gonna
Oh, I'm sorry.
just interject, my daughter and her husband moved to town last year.
Yeah.
And when they moved to the house, they got a letter from the town explaining the program. And my son-in-law contacted me, goes, is this legit? Is this what I should do? And I go, yeah, it's legit, you should do that.
Oh, good.
So we signed up.
Yeah.
Now they moved from one house to another, still within town, just a few months ago, and they haven't gotten any letter. They don't even know where their energy is coming from, just the first couple of months so far, they haven't got a bill. So he contacted the town and he signed up.
Yeah.
Because he knew about it.
Yeah.
But he didn't get a letter this time, so.
He probably wouldn't have, because that's why they do these sweeps, to see if there's anybody with a new address or change of address or moving into town. So maybe he missed that he maybe caught the last sweep, but maybe not the next one yet. So,
And I know you were gonna do the realtors,
yeah.
which I think is a great idea, but their realtor didn't mention anything about it.
Yeah,
so.
that hasn't gone out yet. I gotta get that out. We're going
I mean, I
back.
think that's part of it, is getting the word out.
Yeah.
Because people come and they don't know really about energy choice unless somebody lets them know.
Right, yeah. There was an issue with that particular document, so I think it's settled now, so we can go forward with that and get that out there soon. Good, that's good input. Yeah, so I think they probably missed this sweep. He can always just go to the website and sign up.
Well, he called somebody at town hall here.
Yeah.
And they asked about it, and they said, well, just go to the website, fill out a form, and you're good to go, and that's what he did.
Right,
So-
okay, so he should be all set. Yeah, that's really, since he knew about it, he just knew where to have to go, where to get it, so. Sounds like he did all the right things, so.
Is it possible to have something about it on the front page of the website?
Like,
When you come
Okay.
to You come,
Of our webpage?
no, not our webpage, of the town page. You know, it has,
Like a banner or something, or,
yeah, a floating thing or something.
I did see something on that.
There is something.
Yeah, there is
I saw
something on there. I saw that on there. It's off to the side a little bit, or it's off on one of the side panels,
Yeah,
but it is there. But you have to know to click on it. You have to know that's the name of it, I think, to do it.
Right.
So,
So maybe we can take a look at that and
Yeah.
just see.
good. I asked him too about the tally board. We talked about that last time, where you have something like this to track, like how much carbon you're keeping from being released, and maybe one for cost, how much cost you're saving. They got back to me, they said tracking cost savings hard because, the rates change with National Grid and how to do that. They said be better off either going by pushing that opt-up program to get more people on 100% and do it by how much renewable energy is being used now, and then do how much carbon is being no longer emitted kind of thing. So we're working through that. Chris, was there anything else you had?
No.
Okay, let me see if. Let's see.
thank you, take care.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, so they said, basically, a couple other towns have done something similar to this, so I want to find out a little bit more about that as well, what they've done. But basically, they kind of track the voluntary renewable. And they did say that they could start doing monthly usage to track the carbon emission reduction progress. And maybe we could do something, on the Facebook page or something like that. One idea was to have like a physical tour board, but we can certainly do something like this, online on the Facebook page. So we'll work through that. I think that's all I have on the ECC. Next up, Joanne, you want to go over the
Okay.
outreach and education?
Okay, outreach and education. Basically, we've spent a lot of time, and if you saw the Sentinel today, we have an article in it.
Yeah.
Touted.
Spread the second page there.
Second page in, like almost half the page,
Yeah.
about the Belchertown Common celebration of Earth Day. It's being advertised on the Facebook page. John got us to be able to use the electronic sign over by the schools. That'll be starting on Sunday.
It's going now.
Oh, it's going
Yeah, I saw
now?
driving in.
Yeah.
You saw it too? Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's already in. We weren't able to get the sign on the town green, the little bulletin board there. Somebody had already asked to use that. And we've had flyers out. We've contacted the schools in the hopes that they would put it on their calendar about the collection of litter on the 26th. And I think we're pretty all set on that, and that's been the major
Yeah. Just
work.
want to get that flyer on the town Facebook page too. I don't know if it's on there yet, the Celebrate Earth Day flyer. I haven't seen it. But it does say on that digital signboard to go on the town Facebook for info, so hopefully it'll catch up.
Okay, yeah. So that's it. Hope everybody, if they're free on the 26th, will come out and get one of our bags that is compostable, and go find a spot in town that you want to clean up. And hopefully we'll increase our numbers from last year because it was a rainy day. And
Yeah.
and there'll be, as in the newspaper article, it tells about the different people who have exhibits. Our committee will have an exhibit, the Conservation Committee,
Greenway.
the Greenway.
Is that you, Rich? Are you going to be there? Or is that?
I won't be there myself,
That's
but
right.
the Greenway will be there.
Okay,
Right.
right.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about it.
Yeah.
Emails or, you know.
Lake Wallace and the people who do the composting for the schools in Belchertown. And they're gonna be there and explain about composting and, so I think that'll work pretty good. And the scouts are gonna be there doing a bottle and can collection. It's an extra one in town, so hopefully it'll be worth their while. And it's 10 to 1, sign up,
Oh, I thought it was 9 to 12, 10 to 1?
it's 10 to 1.
You know,
9:30 you
I
can
think
sign up
initially it
to
was,
collect.
initially it was around there, but I think the sign up is like, starts around, there are gonna be people that are at 9, but the registration's like
Oh, like
9:30
the
or something.
Greenway sign is saying 9 to 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
I think
Well,
so.
There'll be somebody there at 9 anyway, so, yeah. And, so, because somebody from the Greenway will be there at 9 then?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
and
because everyone on the committee thinks it's 9 to 12.
okay, that's fine. Because Sarah will be there and we can go a little earlier, right, John?
Yes,
We'll be there at 9.
we'll probably be there about 9, yeah.
And hopefully it'll be good weather. And
Seems like a great event, and then it was a great coverage in the newspaper.
yeah, we're lucky that it got in. They're very
It's-
good over at the newspaper and are supportive, so. And we will take pictures and send them over to the newspaper to give a follow-up. They like the pictures. So, and that's it for right now. And
Did you get the compostable bags from the conservation
you can go there
in
now.
advance?
Yes, if anybody wants to get them during regular business hours, they'll give you however many bags you want. I already picked up mine because obviously I can't do both at the same time.
Where are the bags?
The bags are at the conservation office.
And my wife wanted to get them in advance so we can put the grandkids to work on Thursday and Friday.
Yes, very good idea.
And then bring all the bags Saturday morning and get our
Get your
seedling.
trees, yes. I got trees last year, planted them, they're really cute.
Yeah, they survived and they're on their way.
Oh, yeah, we've done trees like that for 40 years,
Yeah,
30 years, yeah, 40 years.
okay. Anything else?
No,
Okay.
that's it.
It just, well, that's actually on the agenda. We'll just talk a little bit more about.
Oh,
food
there is
and
one
things
other
like
thing,
that.
we are gonna try to highlight one of the things we're doing, recycling, and also the bounty of Belchertown, so buy local for the farms. And,
That's what that is, buy local or?
this is the bounty of Belchertown, and it shows not all of them, but a whole lot of the farms, so that it's last year, so they don't have a new program up. But that, helps in terms of transportation and where your food's coming from. And so we want to highlight that.
Good.
Okay, so that's it.
Okay, good. Thank you. Let's talk about yearly reappointments. I thought I printed out the notice I had from Steve on that, but it was actually maybe an older one. But I have it on memory, so there are 3 people up for appointment or reappointment. Joanne.
Yep.
Jacob is up for a reappointment as well, and the reappointment is for 3 years to 2028. I have to get back to Steve with whether or not to make those recommendations. I believe you said you're probably not going to.
Yeah, I'm not re-upping,
Okay, and then.
but I'd like to be an associate.
Right.
So if there's a different format to fill out, let me know.
Either way, if you're off, you have to fill out the I get for the re-upping into an associate. And also, the associate members have to re-up every year. So
Mike Hester.
Mike actually has to let me know on that as well. So I'll talk to him separately on that. So I do have a note out to Jacob to let me know myself. I think he's probably not going to as well, so we'll have to, this year we'll have maybe a couple more committee members. The other person that was on there was Jordan Gilbert. She had filled out the form, but I believe she has not been signed in yet, sworn in. So she's got to go through that process before she's an actual member. I thought she was going to join us tonight, but it doesn't look like she's here. So she'll be joining us hopefully next meeting. Next thing on there is the Environmental Fair Earth Day. I think we pretty much covered that. We'll be there. Certainly the BCEC. We want to tout the opt-up program for that in our booth.
Are the booths going to be in the parking area like last year?
Yes, they'll be in the parking area. We're kind of talking about whether they should be on the green, but the way it's going to be set up is the trash bin's going to be, on the side next to 202.
Right, yeah.
The registration and the booths will be set up along this side of the parking lot, and then on the back side, closer to the common, will be the
Scouts.
Will be the Cannonball Drive.
And how many of us would you like to be there? Do you want us to be there for the entire time, or
It's
relief?
3 hours.
Yeah,
it's not hard to handle that.
Mhm.
Frank, I think you said you're going to be there. And Chris,
Yeah,
I think
yes, I'm going to be there.
Okay, and Chris, you said you're going to be there?
Yes, we'll be there.
Okay. So, but I think we'll be focusing more on the opt-up program, and we may not need all three of us there. So we might need a couple for the outreach and for what you're doing for some of the information you're going to have. And I think we're going to try to do like a hotspot so we can have a laptop or two up and running, and that would be good to actually show people the site
Right, the sites, yeah.
on the energy sustainability site with all the things that are listed there. I don't know if we can print that out just to have it so people can see it if we can't get a good hotspot.
I was thinking of doing a QR code so that people could just click it and then they'd have it on their phones.
Right.
So I'll get a QR code.
Okay, so they could just do that and it would show up that particular, that'd be great.
But you can come and do you can come and get a bag.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I might get a bag ahead of time.
Yeah, there you go.
And collect.
So, I mean, to me, the more the merrier, but.
Yeah, I'll probably stop up for a short
Yeah.
period of time just to support.
Great. Yeah, great. Okay. On the project assignments, I think you all had I sent out the kind of the straw man of how we should proceed. And I think the fact that we're getting people in, it's all going to kind of come together over the next couple of months. There's a lot going on in town right now with the town vote and the town meeting coming up and the budget issues. So it's kind of hard to get a lot of traction right now with taking on new projects and working with other groups until this is done. Kathy, I think you volunteered to take Frank's spot on the climate resilience and sustainability action plan, growth plan rather.
I thought.
Was it
Working in natural lands?
Yeah.
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 I could take that.
That was Frank. He had that, but so maybe you guys can get together and talk and just go over ideas with that.
Yeah, sure.
The idea is with each of these is rather than having specific projects under each, is to work more in a capacity of being, kind of like a guide, or I call it a guardian, or the resident expert, or someone that just keeps a track of each of these things, of what's going on and what we could be doing, maybe what other groups are doing. So we're not either repeating, or if we need to tag on or lead the way on something else. So I think that's where we're going to proceed for now with that. And then going forward, just looking at some specific projects. We're still going to keep the same. I think we'll keep the same 3 subcommittees for now, and continue that, because there's still some, certainly with the public outreach, that's always ongoing. The transportation project still ongoing with the EV charger, and BCEC still needs some work too. So we'll work on that, and maybe some of the new members can join some of those areas as well, as we switch things around. The new members come in, or the old members go out the end of June, I believe.
Yeah, so July 1st.
Yeah, June 30th is when the terms end. Good. Anything else on that? Does anybody else have anything?
Are there any other areas that need someone to join, one of the focus areas?
Well, with Frank out, we could use someone on the BCEC side as well. Patricia, since Mike is an associate, really the transportation needs a person as well. So why don't you think about that, you new folks, and let me know if you're interested in that. Unless you want to voice anything right now.
And public outreach.
Public outreach, you want, because you have.
Because I'm gone.
You're gone. It'll just be Todd. So come June, right, we're going to have to assign, if you and Jacob go out, certainly that's going to have to get up to. So
I think I'd be interested in the public outreach one.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. So why don't you start getting involved with that, and if you're having a meeting or something like that,
Yeah, okay.
include Reed in that as well. Good. And as always, if there's any thoughts, you can shoot me an email over the next month or so. All right, good. What else? Oh, this is Powering Massachusetts Forward workshop. That was a workshop on, it was the 15th. Nope, it was on the 10th. It was run by this new group. I'm not sure if it's new, called CELT, C-E-L-T, and what that stands for is Clean Energy Legacy Transition. And it's really run by Boston University and UMass Lowell. And what they're doing is they're making data available. They've done a nice job of amassing a lot of data throughout the communities on what communities are doing, what they're using, what programs they have going on. And they're also managing a fellowship, student fellowship, where they're training students who are interested in climate and environmental initiatives and programs to make themselves available for to towns that have programs going, and they'll do some of the legwork to help that out. It's kind of a rotating thing. They already have the first, I think they can only handle enough for like 4 or 5 communities right now. Of course, they're really based more out of the eastern part of the state, so they have 4 or 5 communities on the eastern part of the state. But both Doug Albertson was there, as well as myself. So we made a showing, and there were several actually people from the Pioneer Valley too. I think someone was there from East Hampton, maybe Southwick or Southampton, I think, that attended this. And it really was a workshop to go over what they have available, some of the data tools that they have, which I won't go into a lot of detail probably something Mike would really like. And May 19th is when their first go is to have 6 communities kind of test drive this fellowship data program and see how that goes. I made a recommendation to the group, which I think they're gonna incorporate. It would be nice to know if you could list like what other towns are doing for projects like solar canopies, which I still want to get that going again once things settle in a little bit, or composting of what other communities are doing. So rather than reinvent the wheel, we can just see what other communities are doing. So they're going to, I think, add that to their database of things you can search in there. So that was interesting, and that's free. The fellowship is free. You just got to fill out the forms and get your name on the list, I guess. The other thing I attended that came up was this quarterly Clean Energy Climate Action Group quarterly. It was put on through the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, Mimi Kaplan, who was here a couple of months back. But again, there was a quarterly group of communities, I think it was like 13 communities, just going over what they're working on and what progress they're making. There was a lot of mention of projects that are ongoing that are grant-based, and there's a lot of uncertainty right now where those grants are going to be honored. So everything's like really slowing down, unfortunately, for some of those initiatives that these other towns are doing. They also had a consultant. It was a nonprofit consultant give a presentation. It was called Mass Energize. I don't know if anybody's heard of them, but what they do is something similar to what the SELF group is doing, where they're going to offer advisors or people to work with towns on specific projects, but it's fee-based. So there is a fee involved, and you can partner with other towns if you're doing a similar thing, and that one person's can be shared as well. So, he gave a presentation on a lot of stuff that they do, and it sounds like it's a good value. It sounds like these people are trained and really can help out with various projects. But again, that would have to be gone to the town for things like that, and looked at the cost. One of the things they did mention was a lot of the towns, and this is part of the greenhouse gas emission thing, was that homes and transportation account for 60 to 80% of the greenhouse gas emissions. So it's very similar to what we were talking about, and that was given by Mimi when she was talking about the greenhouse gas, and like less than 10% is from municipal sources. So that's something to consider too. Like maybe we can put up a solar canopy, but maybe there's other ways to get a better bang for the buck. So I think all that's got to kind of get weighed in and come up with some ideas. I think that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything?
No.
Good. Frank or Chris?
I have
I'm all good.
Yeah.
the designs for the banner, but I could just send those by email better.
Thank you. I knew there was. I forgot about. Can you share your screen and do that, or?
I think you have to make me a presenter.
Yeah. Let me see. Where is that? Is it here?
Yeah, they're towards the bottom, they presented.
There you are. Okay. Let me just give a little background on that. We, for our booth, we don't really have a banner for the Energy and Sustainability Committee. We haven't had one, or lawn sign. So we talked about having that, make some up for the 26th. And Chris, being our resident graphic artist designer, came up with a couple, a banner and lawn sign. So if you can show those, I think it probably show better on the screen rather than.
Yep. I'm working on my, I'm actually doing this from my work computer and it's not letting me share my screen. So 1 second, I'll see if I can do it. Otherwise, I have to send it by email, unfortunately.
Well, it's interesting. I did have a Plan B and printed it out, but for some reason, I am missing it. It was one of those things where I had everything organized and now.
I have it on my little cell phone if you want to see.
Oh, okay.
So there's 3 options. One,
Oh, I see, yeah, one with.
nothing,
One with the old, that the old seal or the new one? In the circle.
The circle is that's the rub is, right.
Seal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
then
rub
the one that
is
just says-
can the
yeah,
seal be
and
used?
then the sign.
Yeah.
Here.
I apologize,
pass that over.
yeah. So there was 3, one with no logo or seal, one with the seal, and one with the entering or welcome to Belchertown, I think that says, or entering
Yeah.
Belchertown. And the lawn signs are similar, but it's basically, there'll be a 6-foot by 2-foot banner. And the regular size lawn sign, we'll get a couple of those made up. I think, Chris, what I'm gonna do is if you could send me a PDF of, or I don't know if you did that already, a separate one of the one with neither of the logo or seal.
Mhm.
We'll go that route, and then we can always print some of those up and stick them on there, I guess, later once things are decided. How's that sound, everybody?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think given that the town is looking at rebranding and coming up with a new identity, we don't want to do something that's going to, be outdated in a few months. So
Right.
It's the option.
Right, because otherwise you would have to kind of like cover it up if it was on there, so.
Right, yeah.
And that would also, again, I gave that file to the town admin, just to make sure that it was okay to go. I'd prefer to have the town seal on it, but I think, since from this discussion, in the way things are going on with the branding, that will just go with the blank and then always add something in later.
Okay. I will send you those right now then.
Good, thank you.
Mhm.
Sorry, I meant to bring that up and got lost in the shuffle, so thanks for bringing that up, Chris.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else? Okay. Our next meeting date is May 15th because the first Thursday of the month falls on the 1st, so it's going to be right in the middle of the month, May 15th. I got to find out, almost like today, because after this meeting, it's like holidays. It's, Good Friday. I think the town offices are closed, and they're closed also on Monday.
They're closed on Patriots. I don't
Patriots
know.
Day.
I don't
About
know
Good Friday?
tomorrow. I
No.
think it might still be open.
So the following month in June is, the meeting falls on June 19th, which is Juneteenth, and the offices are also closed that day.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't think, we may not have a meeting in June, or we'll have to talk about maybe moving it to another date. So think about that. We'll talk about that in May.
I won't be available on May 15th.
Thanks for letting me know.
Mhm.
I will include you anyway, then you can send me back saying you're not gonna be available
Yes.
to remind me, so. Okay. There's no press or public otherwise, other than Rich, so you're all set, Rich?
Yep.
Thank you. With that, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
And the second?
Second.
Second is a motion to adjourn, and the second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved and meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
John.
you.